But moving on and talking about something not Ninjago related for a change, I need to talk about these new Pokemon sets that have just been added to Lego.com. For those that might not be aware, I am a huge Pokemon fan, and as someone who's also a huge Lego fan, again, Lego Pokemon has me very intrigued. We just got some new reveals today. Let's take a look. But starting off with this one, we have Pikachu and Pokeball, and it is very much what it describes, Pikachu with a Pokeball. Now, okay, my thoughts on Lego Pokemon, when it was first announced, I was pretty excited for it. Again, as a huge Pokemon fan, having Lego themselves make official Pokemon sets sounded awesome. Unfortunately, I think this Pikachu kind of misses the mark, man. He kind of looks a little stupid. The proportions feel a little off. It's not quite like Pikachu shaped, I would argue. Even the Pokeball isn't really like properly shaped either. It's not as sphere shaped as I would like. I get it, it's Lego, but maybe new specialized parts would have been better. Now, Pikachu, I have no idea how they could have fixed this, man. First of all, you get this really dumb stand with it. That just looks bad, and I think it also is a factor as to why this thing is $200. Yeah, $200 up for pre-order now. I probably will not be pre-ordering any of these. Pikachu especially, it just looks a little off. I don't know what it is about it. Again, proportions might be a little whack. It just doesn't look... It doesn't feel like Pikachu. It doesn't feel like Pikachu enough, in my opinion. Oh, and also, if you do pre-order any of these, you do get the Kanto region badge collection, because we love Kanto, right? Gen 1's the best. Totally. But no, in terms of this one, you know, as like the flagship set, if you will, of Lego Pokemon, I just don't really care for this one. I do like some stuff about it, you know. I like how you can change the tail depending on what gender Pikachu you want, because the female Pikachus have the little hearts, the male Pikachu's tails are more straight like that, so I can appreciate that. But again, the stand looks dumb, the included Pokeball looks dumb. Maybe they should have just excluded both of those, lowered the price a little bit, and called it good from there. Yeah, probably not going to pick up this Pikachu, not going to lie. I don't really care for the look of it at all. Let's move on. Next up, though, we have Eevee, and Eevee, I actually don't think this one looks too bad. This might be my favorite of all three sets, which is kind of saying something because it's by far the smallest and also the cheapest. Only $60 for this guy. That's a good price in my opinion. I would pay $60 for this. I think he does look pretty good. He looks like Eevee. Proportionally, he's a lot better than any of the other Lego Pokemon in my opinion. And again, still probably not going to pre-order, but if I see this in the store, you know, maybe if I have a little bit of extra money that I can spend on Lego, maybe I'll pick up Eevee. He seems like a good set. I think by far, again, he's my favorite out of the entire selection. Though I will say, again, this is another Gen 1 set. You do get the Gen 1 Kanto badges if you pre-order this guy too. Probably won't. Like I said, maybe if I see him in the store, I'll grab him. But overall, yeah, I'm just not the biggest fan of Gen 1. I'm not the biggest fan of Eevee. Like, I like Eevee enough to the point that I might consider getting this set someday, but it's not like Eevee's one of my favorite Pokemon. I much more prefer the evolutions of Eevee. Like, Sylveon is my favorite Pokemon of all time. You know, Eevee's fairy type evolution. The second they make a Lego Sylveon set, it's all over. But I feel like if Lego keeps on, you know, trying to appeal specifically to the Gen 1 crowd, it's probably going to be a while until we see that, unless they make like a full Eeveelution set, which might be kind of expensive. But as it stands, Eevee doesn't look too bad. Might consider getting this one at some point. This is the only one of the three that I actually kind of want a little bit. And finally, we have this, Venusaur, Charizard, and Blastoise. The ultimate Gen 1 Pokemon set for all of the Gen 1ers out there, which I am not. You know, Gen 1 is fine. You know, it's perfectly fine, but it gets way too much attention. I get it, though. You know, 30th anniversary of Pokemon, 18 plus Pokemon sets, the Gen 1 stuff is probably going to sell. And this one right here is kind of like a big 3-pack, nearly 7,000 pieces for $650. Yeah, that is definitely a price. Venusaur, Charizard, and Blastoise. Now, The builds themselves, they look fine. Charizard looks kind of derpy. So does Venusaur. Blastoise might be my favorite out of all three of these builds here. And even then, his proportions are kind of whack. I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of these builds personally. Yeah, I don't know. There's something off about them. Now, part of the reason why this set is as expensive as it does come with a bunch of included stands here that you can combine to, again, make all of them stand on one base. Dare I say, maybe the stands aren't necessary. Like, completely get rid of the stands, just have the builds and watch the price drop by a couple $100. Because as it stands, you know, nearly $700, I cannot justify spending $700 on a single Lego set, let alone a Lego Pokemon set featuring 3 starters that I'm not the biggest fan of. You know, I'm not the biggest Gen 1 fan. It's fine, but I'd be lying if I said Charizard, Venusaur, and Blastoise were my favorite Pokemon. They're not. The Gen 1 starters don't even come close to being my favorite starters. So, you know, it is what it is. It's another Gen 1 set that appeals to the Gen 1 crowd. I get it. I understand why Lego is doing that. I understand it's the 30th anniversary of Pokemon and the 18 plus and all that. I get it. I understand. I just think the builds are kind of questionable. The included stand does not need to be included, and this is just way too expensive for me personally to spend on this. So I probably will not be getting this one. Like I said, out of all of the Lego Pokemon stuff, the only one that I would consider getting is Eevee. And even then, that's not going to be a day one purchase. That's going to be if I find it in the store and I'm in a good enough mood, I might grab it. But overall, guys, that's going to pretty much do it for my thoughts for today's video, and that's going to do it for my thoughts on the new Pokemon stuff.